Welcome to the Classic Car Club. I'm Michael. Today we have the keys to the club's 1987 328 Ferrari, which is one of my favorite. I'm going to call this a full-on classic. You could dispute it. One thing about this key is I never understood why it was hinged like this. There's a very good reason. I'm just not aware of what that reason is. So let me know down in the comments. I've always wondered. Anyway, 328 Ferrari. I mean, look at that. Is that not beautiful? That is beautiful. This is one of the cars when I was a kid that made me love cars, which is probably why I'm here at the car club today. First of all, it's tiny. Look at the, I mean, it's tiny. This is the way it should be. It's like this beautiful swoopy thing that I think we all think of when we think of Ferraris, at least if you're my age, you do. Very sparse. It's a 328. It's a mid-engine V8 Ferrari. That's sort of like bread and butter of Ferraris. So before it was the 308, 348, 355, etc. I think that this is one of the nicest experiences. And while it's not as old as most classics are, I think it feels extremely classic when you're in it. It's very sparse inside, very little going on as far as luxury driving. It's just a great little pocket rocket sports car. Not crazy powerful, you know, it is from the 80s, so it has 270 horsepower, but it's light, so it still gets up and goes. I like the way it's geared. I just like being in it. I like the sound of it. I like that it makes other people on the road really happy. Like, you don't see them too often, especially in black. You always see them in red, but I think it's a touch more sinister in black, so I dig that. Also, it's a targa. They made a targa, not a targa, a targa. They made something like 700 of these total, and the targa was the majority of them. But, you know, no fancy switch work, no back lifting up and the hood going in. There's just two little latches. You take it off yourself, you stick it behind the back seats, or behind the back of the seats. Super easy, right? Like, I'm really into the simplicity of it all. Plus, pop-up headlights. And they work. I mean, it's very rare that you see modern day cars or cars in modern day with pop-up headlights, and they actually work. These work. Classic Car Club, you know how it goes. Let's go for a drive. Welcome to the inside of the 328 Ferrari. Let me tell you about the quirkiness of it first. So this to me is total exotica from the era. There's not much to it. 3-spoke steering wheel, 5-speed dogleg gated gearbox with a big stick and ball on top, and just a beautiful Ferrari V8 right behind my head. It's obviously pretty small in here. This is when like supercars were small. I'm 5'11" and I weigh 158 pounds, and Bob next to me is even skinnier. Our seating arrangement is intimate. However, don't let that dissuade you. It's a great place to be regardless. The rear view mirror here is like 6 inches from my face. The steering wheel is pointing right. The seat is also pointing a bit right, but from the other direction. And then the pedals are facing a bit left. So you sit in a bit of an S. None of this matters because this car is incredible. Also, the center instrumentation cluster here, which has 1, 2, 3, 4 different fan settings and all these different climate things. I've been driving 328 Ferraris for 20 years now. I've never touched any of it. I don't know what any of it does. I just open the window, or I would have the targa top open, but I don't think you'd be able to hear anything we say. That's the weirdness. On to the other bit of it. This car is just extraordinary. I'll be a bit controversial here. If you're lusting after an air-cooled vintage 911, stop it. Just get this. Those are so expensive. There's no creativity to it. They seem to be everywhere. And this is just a better experience in my book. I mean, this car's just fucking awesome. It runs beautifully, it drives beautifully. The gearing is really long and tall. Like, you spend a lot of time in each gear, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It just feels like, you know, people say rowing through the gears. With this, it feels like each time you shift the car, it's purposeful. It drives totally flat. Like, you just go around these bendy corners and it feels like you could lay the power on, and it doesn't matter. The body does not sway or roll at all. It just stays right where it is. It's a 3.2 liter engine, which is, you know, a high revving European engine, which I really love. And you don't get all this blast of power down below, but once you get it up into the revs, it really starts to sing and it wants to go. I mean, this is something very special, this car, in my opinion. A lot of sports cars feel like they were designed with machine learning. I'm talking about modern ones, and obviously I don't mean, this is not totally apples to apples, but this feels like a precise sports car that is direct trickle down from motorsport. And that's what Ferrari is, right? A race company that sells road-going cars to the public to pay for the effort, or at least that's what it used to be when Enzo Ferrari was around. And this is of that era. This is very nice to drive, very nice to drive. I'm doing 65 miles an hour, feels like I'm doing 90. Our collective butts are 3 inches off the ground, which just gives you this sensation of speed. When I pass other cars, my head is below a Kia Soul's side view mirror. Like we're just in this tiny little rocket flying through the atmosphere. It sounds gorgeous. I'm not really an exhaust note guy. I try to say what things sound like because I know people are drawn to that. But this is just like a burble, a low burble that just turns into a growl after a while. It's not offensive. It's not popping and cracking everywhere. It just sounds like a motorsport engine. And when you put your foot down, it feels like a motorsport engine. The gear shifting, it's a little sticky. You got to really get it into each one of the gates. The clutch throw is very long, but it's also super light. It's not going to bother your knee or your calf or whatever, if that's a thing for you. It's really light. It's engaging. But man, you really got to punch each gear in, but that's the way they've always been. I just love how a small input on the steering wheel, 2 or 3 degrees, and you're changing lanes, you're going around the corner. Comes right back to center. It's planted. You can feel the ground underneath you. You can feel the road. You can feel the surface. It gives you nice communication. You have a pretty good sense of how much traction you have. If you're stressing it, which I think in this car is really hard to do. I mean, I don't come anywhere near the limit of adhesion on these cars. But even just going around little roundabouty things like that, it just delivers a little bit more centrifugal force or G-force. You feel like you're in a race of one. Here's a funny 328 story. When we started the car club in 2005, I obviously had a lot less experience with cars than I do now. And one of the first cars we bought was a 328 Ferrari. And we bought it from a guy on Long Island who had this like little supercar dealership in industrial area in like Hauppauge or something like that. Mike DiCandido, if you're out there, what's up? Anyway, we bought one from him, and it had hardly any gas in it. So I drove it to a gas station, and then I walked around the car like a fool for about 15 minutes trying to think, where do I put the gas in? You actually put it, there's like a little louver window, or a louvered covered window behind me with a little keyhole. That's where the gas goes. So, I show up at a gas station with a Ferrari, I don't know how to put gas in it. Such a schmuck move. Man, where would I take a 328 Ferrari? Anywhere. Like all sports cars, those back roads would be beautiful, but I think that this would be really popular at a Cars and Coffee because they didn't make a lot of these. Like, they make a lot of Ferraris now. They make a lot of supercars now. They didn't make a lot of these. And I know it's not an F40, I get it, but it's something really practical in its exoticness. I would bring it anywhere that there was nicely paved roads, to be honest with you. Pick up your mom. Take your mom for a ride in a Ferrari. You'd probably make her happy. Yeah, do that. Get a 325, pick this one up from the car club, and go pick up your mom and go to a diner. That's a proper 328 drive. I really like the steering wheel in this car. It's just a steering wheel. It's a Momo. It doesn't have heater coils going through it. There's no electronics in it. So it's just this really thin steering wheel that just has this nice little indentation for your thumbs, and it feels perfect. Also, old school Ferrari horns are very obnoxious. It's like I think it's a real horn. Obviously it's a real horn, it's from that era, but you know, it's got a little bit of pomp and circumstance to it. Like if an old lady was crossing the street and you were waiting for her, that would make you a nice person. It's shouty, but the steering wheel is nice.